start with that Big Ten championship game. And if you're listening, if you're watching, yes, I am chuckling because goodness gracious, there's two very intriguing things about this game. One, it is obviously the return of Jim Harbaugh. And two, have you seen the point spread in the over-under? So the point spread, Michigan is a 22.5-point favorite. That's probably not that much of a surprise. The over-under is set at 35 for this game. This feels like an AFC North, old school Steelers-Ravens game. And I think most of you probably saw, but in DraftKings, they put out the first half lines, the first half over-unders. And actually, Iowa's first half over-under was 0.5. As in, are they going to score a single point? So DraftKings does not think that Iowa is going to suddenly turn around and suddenly become an offensive juggernaut. But let's go ahead and dive in. Listen, the great thing about the show at this time of the year, I said it in the first segment, I've said it throughout the last couple weeks. We know who these teams are. You don't need me to tell you a ton about what they do well and what they don't. Both of these teams have elite defenses. Michigan is the number one scoring defense in all of college football. Iowa is the number 4 scoring defense in all of college football. Let me say this for Iowa really quick. Listen, I know they're a punching bag. I know they're easy to make fun of. And listen, I am guilty of it as anybody. But it is kind of amazing what they have done this year. You understand that Iowa has given up more than 16 points just once the entire season. 16 points they've given up more than once. They lost 31-0 to Penn State. I'm not going to read all of their final scores, but the last couple games, 13-10 win over Nebraska, 16-13 win over Illinois, 22-0 win over Rutgers, 10-7 win over Northwestern. So 3 of their last 4 games, they have not broken 16 points and won all of them. It is kind of sort of incredible what they have done this year. Now, going into the game, let me say this. I mentioned it off the top. The most interesting part of this game is the return of Jim Harbaugh. And listen, I'll say this. I think Harbaugh has done a good job of really kind of controlling the message. I think it'd be easy for him to be bitter, to be angry, to be mad, to take shots at the Big Ten. And all he's done is said, he came back to the podium on Monday and said, who's got it better than us? We're playing for a conference championship. This is awesome. This is great. And there's no negativity, no blaming the Big Ten. So I think Michigan, listen, I think they're in the right mindset coming in. I think him coming back is important for 2 reasons. One, do think he brings a calm to that team. There is no doubt that J.J. McCarthy plays better with him on the sidelines. And I think he brings a calm to them, not just from a how they play, but just from an ease, a relaxation. It's almost like having, going to the blacktop with your big brother. He's got your back. That's Jim Harbaugh. I saw J.J. McCarthy drop a line this week where he said something to the effect of, whenever I need to get that first hit out of my body to get out the jitters, he's the one on the sidelines coming at me with, I'm wearing full pads. He puts a shoulder into my chest just to get me going. That's what Jim Harbaugh does for this team. But the other factor, I haven't heard anybody talk about this. I think this is really important. And by the way, maybe people have. I haven't consumed a ton of content. So if a college football podcast you listen to has talked about this, I apologize. But what I think is important, I haven't heard a lot of people talk about. Sherrone Moore. You know what he's going to be doing? Calling plays this week, and that's it. And I don't think we give Sherrone Moore enough credit for the work that he did as the acting head coach. He has to give the pregame speech, the postgame speech, the halftime speech, and he's got to call plays, and he's got to run an offense, and he's got to kind of be aware of what's going on with the defense. This week, he just gets to call plays, and look at this offense and the difference with him when he is calling plays. The 6 games where he did not call, where Jim Harbaugh was not there. 3 out of conference games, they scored 30, 35, and 31. And then last couple weeks, 24, 31, and 30. So they did not break 35 during that stretch. The 6 games that Jim Harbaugh has been there, 31 points, 45 points, 52 points, 52 points, 49 points. When Sherrone Moore can focus just on play calling, the guy is elite. And so when I look at this game, I think Michigan wins big. And I also like the over. To me, this game is going to play out like the last 2 Big Ten championships have, okay? If you've watched each of the last 2, it feels to me like Ohio State is that monkey on Michigan's back. And once they get that monkey off their back, they play loose, they play free, and they dominate. 2 years ago, beat Ohio State, dominate the Big Ten championship game against Iowa. Last year, beat Ohio State, dominate the Big Ten championship game against Purdue. You know what it kind of reminds me of? For you true sports fans, I grew up in Connecticut. The Boston Red Sox, when they won the World Series in 2004, first World Series since 1918, they had to beat the Yankees. They had to get through the Yankees, get through that. And then once they beat the Yankees, I know this growing up in that area at that time, there was no way they were losing to the St. Louis Cardinals. Like once they beat the Yankees, you might as well have just given them the trophy. You didn't even need to play the World Series. That's how I feel about the Big Ten championship game. They're going to play loose. They're going to play free. They're going to put up points in a way that nobody has against Iowa except for Penn State. I think Iowa scores a garbage touchdown late. I think the final score is like 38-7. I love the over in this game. And I do think Michigan covers. If I had to make a best bet, I'd take the over in the Big Ten championship game. That's right, baby. Over 35 in this game.